Went to the Pagan festival. That was fun. We were the only booth out there without a pentagram, besides a food booth. The only one. We had dream seekers. They're like, what is it? And we're like, yeah. We have a menu board because we have to meet them and scratch the itch and, begin to speak their language. So we would, at Burning Man in different places, we have menu items on our board and we use it everywhere we go. And it's things like original root recovery. Organic spiritual alignment. Spiritual cleansing and redefinement. That's deliverance. It is. We have a really cool thing we do, and we use this everywhere we go. You can use this anywhere. And why I'm telling you this is because you don't have to go all over the world to do this. You can do this right here. You can do this in any art walk, any street fair, any of the things, and it's called True Reflections. And you get a full-length mirror, $5 Walmart. And have them sit in a chair, and you stand with the mirror. And you go, okay, tell me everything you see when you get up in the morning. What do you see? And they're like, well, they tell you all the negative stuff, right? So you stand with them and you just flip it all around. Well, here's what I see. And they start to cry. And then pretty soon they're like, how do you know that? Because I know the one who wired you. I know the one who put you together. The Pagan festival was a kick. Because we couldn't be obviously Christian in there, they would run us out. If we came out with Bibles, the big ones that you put on the coffee table, come over here and let me tell you about, or we had any God language or Bible talk at all, they would run us out. They just wouldn't put up with it. So what we did was we put a bowl in the middle of the table, and because we don't charge for what we do, we just call it organic giving. You can stick the word organic on anything right now. Organic healing, organic giving, organic words of life, organic. Everything's organic. I want that. It's pure. It's real. Yes, it is. So we had organic giving, and we had a bowl in the middle of the table, and it said, help us go to Burning Man. Well, it just tripped them up. They're like, well, you're too weird to be Christian, and you're too light to be dark. We just don't know what you are. And we're like, well, we'll keep it that way. So, but at the end of the night, when we finished with our ministry time, and I'll tell you a little bit about that, but we had something like $450. So the pagans paid the Christians to go to Burning Man to tell people about Jesus. I'm like, we're going. So when we would have people sit down in front of us, it was really interesting because oftentimes it's just all about their mind. It's about what they're going for. It's about their, whatever. Well, he gave us all authority. All authority has been given to us. And we are partakers of the divine nature. So we contain life on the inside of us. So every dark word, every negative word is eaten up, swallowed up by life words. Because the power of life and death is in my tongue. So they come in there, they have their shrunken heads and all their, pentagrams and all that, and I just grab all that stuff off their neck. What is that stuff? And I just hold it so it couldn't get a hold of them, right, while I'm talking. Well, there was this one girl that came in, and this is the fun part. I'm trying to tell you how fun it can be, because so often we get afraid of evangelism when we think we can't go do that. Oh, I get so theatrical. And you get freedom to do it. It's funny. It really is. I've got all this stuff in my hand, and this girl comes in and she goes, my name is Ruth, and I'm a Wiccan, and I'm going to this level and that level, and I've done this and that. And I said, really? So I said, are you familiar with the significance of your name? And she goes, no. And I said, okay. And she goes, well, I read the Book of Ruth. And I'm like, so? We're at a pagan festival, remember? So I'm like, wise as a serpent. So I went, help me out. Book of Ruth. She goes, the Book of Ruth. And I went, And she goes, the Bible, in the Bible. Loving it, loving it. So I went, okay, whatever. So that's what I did. I literally brushed her off. And then all of a sudden I saw her brain, and I saw underneath her scalp, I could see black moss growing in her brain matter. So what I did was I'm holding the stuff with one hand, right, the pentagrams and all the stuff, and I've got my hand on her head. I said, I'm going to put my hand on your head, and I'm going to ask for light to come in and begin to illuminate, take the moss and take the fog out. I just called it like I saw it, right? And I'm watching this stuff dissipate under my hand. And all of a sudden, she's blinking, and she's going, what? And I said, oh. So I got really theatrical with her because I felt it was time. And I let this happen for a few minutes, right? And I said to her, who is your spirit guide? And she goes, well, I really don't have one right now. It's interesting that you would ask. I bet it is. And I said, okay, I think I'm getting something. And I just reeled her in. How many have ever been fishing? The big ones, you got to give them a little slack, roll them back in. Remember how my mom was a bass fisherman? So I was giving her some slack, reeling her back in. Finally, I said, I think Jesus should be your spirit guide. She said, why? And I said, because you're already tracking. You read the Book of Ruth. She goes, what? And I said, yeah, right? Didn't play into it. And she goes, I said, give me your hand. And she goes, can we do this now? I said, yes, we can do this now. This is at a pagan festival. This is at a place where everybody had everything going. And finally, the power of God, because of where we go, and the presence of God and the angelic help, and we've got intercessors on board, and we've got people who can handle this stuff. They shut down their booth, and they came over, and they said, we cannot compete with this. I love it.